H&M gang, gang, gang. It's your boy here.
The Nemesis.
And on today's episode of Done Goofed, we're gonna be hitting hard on this guy Harman Smith. I'm gonna say this right now. More subscribers gets more views than me. I don't give a shit. I'm gonna hit him. I only say that because in the very likely chance that this guy wants to make a video about me or something like that, or if I'm targeting him for harassment, I wanted to throw that the hell out there. Let's just get into this.
It's hard to believe that after 2 long years of irrelevancy, Elden Ring is finally trying to make itself talked about again by releasing a new DLC out of...
Alright, so we gonna fucking just hit on that for a second, because this motherfucker, I'm gonna give him a little bit of a point. The point is that it's been 2 years. I thought it was a little bit long too for the DLC. That's a point to make. But his whole ragging on the game and saying that it's, oh, nobody cares and it's trying to cling to relevancy and shit. It's like, dude, we've already had another, From Software release. Did you not forget, or maybe you have because you probably didn't play it, Armor Core? You could actually probably say that they were working on Armor Core and didn't want the success of Elden Ring to come out and overshadow that. They wanted to have at least them to have a chance, which... I played Armor Core. It was okay. Not like the originals, but it was an okay game.
Nowhere we are getting Shadows of the Erdtree. The silliest name for a DLC I've...
First off, also, Miyazaki also, teased this with a picture. Let's not forget that. He did hype this up. I think he hyped it up last year, but he did hype this up, and I've been on pins and needles ever since. Whenever I've been waiting for this shit to come out for, like he said, 2 years waiting, ready. I have my character ready for Moog.
Do you?
That's a good question. And I'm sure this guy is actually probably pissed at the fact that you have to beat Moog to even enter the DLC, but it's something that we in the industry like to call
a fucking skill check.
I've ever heard in my life. Oh, look, you have your little knight guy going up against skeletons and fire demons. The most boring, generic, uninspired enemies I've ever seen in my life.
This nigga wants to talk about uninspired shit, but as he's gonna get into, he's gonna bring up Nintendo fucking products, which let's be really fair on that one. When's the last time you saw an original Mario, Zelda, Metroid Prime, or whatever bullshit Nintendo game has out there? When's the last time you saw an actual original fucking enemy or boss? Well, actually, I'm not going to throw that on the bosses, because bosses are a little bit different. But when's the last time they've changed up their enemy variety?
Even the trailers, which are obviously fake, with, those computer-generated, fight sequences, they look slow and stilted. You see a guy just swing a sword, and you just do, the stupid Dark Souls roll thing, and just... get out of the way. It's just how exactly is this supposed to be fun?
How is this supposed to be fun? You see in the trailer of them swinging a sword and dodging out of the way, huh? That's your fucking complaint. Not seeing that it was obviously a cinematic-based trailer. A trailer to hype you up. That's not what it's gonna fucking be like. How far did you get in this game? Let me guess, you didn't play it because it wasn't on your precious Nintendo. Are you telling me that's the only system you fucking have? I'm sure that you would be shitting on Witcher if that shit never came to the fucking Switch. You goddamn piece of shit.
Exactly, this is supposed to be interesting. When you look at, when you compare this to Tears of the Kingdom, where you see things like those crazy vehicles and the skydiving and just some of the enemies you'll be encountering, the difference in...
Okay, so you're gonna name these things you can do, and then you say, and the enemies. Okay, how about you give us some fucking examples? Because I will easily throw up different examples from every other fucking game in From Software's goddamn fucking catalog, and we'll start comparing, motherfucker. How about you actually get in the game? Go get the PC version. Go buy you a PS5, or hell, probably just a PS fucking 4. Play the game. Tell me what your goddamn gamer tag is, and we'll see if you can actually step up to this slow combat.
Quality is straight up astounding, right? And obviously that was the case from the get-go. Breath of the Wild, a 2017 release, stopped Elden Ring. Older Zelda games stomped Elden Ring. So to see people like continue
Stomped Elden Ring, huh? I'm gonna bring up some stats now, and you fucking tell me who's winning, motherfucker. You tell me. Now, it's a little impressive that the game sold so many, but if it was on other systems, maybe it would have sold more. Oh well, I guess we'll never really know that. But yeah, man, you tell me how your shitty fucking, what was it, rated T for teen, fucking bullshit, do the same bullshit over again, save the princess bullshit is so much fucking better than Elden Ring. Please, 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 please. Describe this in detail for me.
OMG, it has 10 million views on YouTube. Nobody cares. Like, nobody cares. Okay? Shadows of the Erdtree is not gonna magically...
Nobody cares, yet it has 10 million fucking views. You are so fucking retarded, dude. I'm sure your little Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild is impressive and has their millions of views too, but why do you have to shit on Elden Ring? Like, I really don't fucking-stand this, except from people who have never fucking played the game, who know nothing about the game, who don't even know how to, like, get these games. It ain't hard. It's simple. Don't get fucking hit, okay? And if you're weak, go get more powerful than the boss. It's called grinding. You have to put in the goddamn effort. And I'm sorry, I don't know if you play any of these fucking Call of Duty, modern day fucking microtransaction games, but if you're willing to grind in those with real money, then why aren't you willing to grind in a game for free where all you gotta do is run around, find the strongest enemies, kill them like 15, 20 times, get enough runes, power yourself up, and then go beat the problem that you can't beat on your own. Or you can go get the Mimic Tier. I mean, I don't know how you're going to do that because you got to get us to a certain part in the story to even get close to the Mimic Tier, but go do that. Or here's an idea, you could get good.
Make Elden Ring relevant again, right? It's not magically going to save from slop from what's coming, right? It's not magically going to become good because Namco Bandai released a trailer, okay? Like, it's not going to be that big of a deal. And you can already kind of see that, right, in the community. It's kind of shocking, really, how little discussion there is regarding the Elden Ring DLC, because Elden Ring is played out. It's boring. It's uninspired. Like, the only time you ever hear anybody talk about it at all is when they're trying to damage control the crashing video game industry.
Dude, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I'd love to hear your opinion about Baldur's Gate. You probably have it. Come on, man. It was the game of the year for 2022. Baldur's Gate was game of the year for last year. And it'd be real funny if this DLC, which I don't see how it could because we still got Black Myth Wukong coming out, but if this DLC won game of the fucking year, I bet you that is a goddamn message to the gaming industry that they gotta get good them fucking selves, because that crap ass Suicide Squad game can't hold up goddamn water and was the prime example of what the fuck the industry is becoming. But you want to cry about this game that has no microtransactions. This is the only DLC that we know of so far. And what? Because it's not your precious Tears of the Kingdom, or because it's not fucking on Nintendo? That's the fucking problem, isn't it? That's really the goddamn problem, because you can't play the game. Or you've tried playing FromSoft games in the past and you failed like a goddamn loser and you can't get good. And you come out here and you talk your shit and you just go on and on and on with all these reasons and no examples, no sources, nothing. And dude, we're on the same damn level. My camera is fucking up right now, zooming in and out, zooming in and out. Everyone can see my shitty fucking room, just like we can see your shitty fucking room. We're on the same damn level, and you do have more subscribers than me, but I'm gonna say something, man. You're a fucking loser. I have a PlayStation, and I will easily point out all the fucking issues with PlayStation right now and their fucking story-based games, but Elden Ring is not fucking one of them, and it is one of the best games that we've had and should be held up as an industry standard instead of this bullshit that you and other people who are tourists and cannot goddamn play this game can live up to.
Like, whenever someone tries to bring up how we haven't gotten any good games over the past 10 years, what about Elden Ring? Yeah, Elden Ring is an example of what people are talking about when they say that gaming is stagnant and boring.
Stagnant and boring. I'm gonna name some games off now. Assassin's Creed, God of War, Call of Duty, Suicide Squad, Forsaken, Saints Row, Reboot. And Elden Ring is the reason why the gaming fucking industry is fucking stagnant? You are goddamn kidding yourself. If anything, I wish companies like Sweet Baby would come into Nintendo and fuck up your next fucking Zelda game or fuck up your next Mario game, so maybe you could share in the hate a little bit, but you're not. You probably would accept that shit. You probably love that shit. You probably ain't even a fucking nerd, you fucking tourist.
If you're not a Nintendo fan, right? The reality is, Elden Ring has made no significant changes or improvements from Dark Souls, right? There has been no real evolution from the formula.
No evolution from the formula? Are you joking me? Okay, we need to be real here. All right, and this is to people who have played Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Bloodborne, Sekiro, Demon Souls. Can you not agree this is the easiest FromSoft game in the Souls series? Can you not? This is a casuals, and I will say that, FromSoft game. This game is not hard. You actually have to beat it multiple times for it to get hard. Why are you crying? You expose yourself because you'd have prime examples. You'd be able to throw out areas, bosses, enemies, actual things you don't like about the game and you have an actual problem with. But you don't. You just name shit off. You don't bring up any goddamn sources. And it's disingenuous. It's bullshitting. It's talking shit to your goddamn audience, which I don't know if it's an echo chamber, but Jesus goddamn Christ. If it is, touch grass.
Right, just compare like Breath of the Wild to Skyward Sword, right? And you can see just the sheer amount of just evolution that game had over its predecessor. In fact, you can see more evolution from Skyward Sword to Twilight Princess than you could see from Demon Souls to Elden Ring. Right, you know, those games.
I'm gonna say, and let's just throw it out there that you have played Demon Souls and the Dark Souls games. Is another reason you're pissed is because you have to read the story and you actually have to try to piece things together, and maybe it doesn't like compute in your head because it's not telling you with cutscenes or any of that shit. Because you're not holding water, dude. All you're doing is bringing up Zelda games, which. Even I was even willing to throw you a bone and say there's Mario, Metroid Prime. Why don't you throw one of those games in as well? No, you're so laser focused on comparing Elden Ring to Zelda, the game that's been the same game for years. Now, they have changed up the formula a few times. Majora's Mask, whatever else one, I don't play these games.
I fucking hate Nintendo.
They've changed it up a few times, but if we're looking at every Zelda game, a majority of them are the same thing. Young hero has to go save the princess, fight the wizard knight or whatever the fuck Ganondorf is. If anything, whatever one, Breath of the Wild, Skyward Sword, whatever the hell the newest one was that actually tried to link all the games, I'll give them that. At least it was a somewhat new idea. But you're still saving the princess and fighting Ganondorf in the end. So please, please keep bitching and tell me how fucking From Software hasn't changed up the formula, as you say.
Play completely differently from each other, right? And you know, lots of people cope and seethe about it. Like, again, Skyward Sword, much like Tears of the Kingdom now, that game was heavily disregarded by gamers when it first came out, but it was very, very ill-deserved, right? And over time, the game began to build a very dedicated audience who love it and respect it for what it is, right? You know, same with Wind Waker, same with Majora's Mask. You know, there are just so many other games that are just better than Dark Souls, to the point where, like, I kind of roll my eyes whenever I see anybody even bring up Dark Souls, because if you're talking about that, you're not playing like The Legend of Zelda: The Oracle of Ages.
All you're doing is bringing up these Zelda games. Dude, you have a Metal Gear Solid poster, a Mario hat. Can't exactly see behind you, so I don't know exactly what that is. Talk about something else. Use a different example, bro. I'll use an example for you. Baldur's Gate is better than any of the Zelda games. and that was Game of the Year last year. And that has different mechanics. That lets you do your own freaking RPG, Dungeon Dragons, whole quest, whatever you want to be, good, evil, non-fighter, any of that crap. And it's 13 times better than any of your bullshit Zelda games. When is Zelda actually going to like make it to other consoles and be the game that you keep praising it to be? Oh, probably never. Until, like, unless Nintendo crashes or something, these games will never be what this guy wants them to be. Where you see Elden Ring on PC, on Xbox, on PlayStation. It has a farther reach than your little Zelda games. So why don't you bring that up? Why don't you bring up why it's constricted to only be on Nintendo's products and is not allowed to grow and hit other audiences, and Nintendo is forcing its consumers to buy their shit fucking products. If you have a Switch, you have a shit product just to play their game. To the point where when the Switch came out, they had to start bringing in other games to get people to play their shit Switch.
Or Minish Cap, or Link Between Worlds, right? Or Triforce Heroes, all of which are way better than anything From Slop has ever put out, right? Again, you guys are getting excited over a DLC. This will save Elden Ring. And again, a big thing I've been seeing from the community is just the denial of Tears of the Kingdom's continued success.
Oh my god! Dude, do I have to bring up the pictures again? And this is in 2024. So let me understand this. Tears of the Kingdom is outselling and outdoing Elden Ring, even though they announced a DLC and the game is more popular. Again, let's be fair, man. How many people are streaming Tears of the Kingdom right now? How many people are streaming Elden Ring? Bring up those numbers in a video, in a current day video, man, and we'll see if you have a point.
Right. This is like the big thing I think that really motivated me to make this video, is just seeing how many Elden Ring YouTubers are still in denial that Zelda has stomped their beloved franchise into the ground, and there will be no recovery from this.
Examples. If you can bring up examples, video, stats, pictures, fucking drawings that you fucking did in your free time, like it'd be something. It would be something, but you're not saying anything. You're just bullshitting with nothing. And this is why you're getting made fun of on the goddamn internet.
Like going forward, I think it's been very clear that Nintendo has the ability and the capacity to innovate and evolve their Zelda formula.
Dude, I'm about to hit bricks.
Right? Like, it's crazy how Tears of the Kingdom takes place in the same setting as Breath of the Wild, and yet it has such wildly different mechanics and such a wildly different plot. It really does come off.
Okay. All right. Okay. This is actually a complaint from your camp. It's the same game. It's glorified DLC with new gadgets and shit in it, and a different story. But it's the same world. It's the same shit that you've seen before, but everything's changed around to make it a new game. They've just switched the assets. Are you fucking joking me, dude? Every FromSoft game is a handcrafted world made with love. But you're gonna give Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom a fucking pass because they use the same template but have different assets and a different story? Like, there is no way you're this dumb. If you're trolling, this is great, because you got some genuine anger out of me, man. Like, I will literally be a lolcow for this. Come on, man. That is bullshit that you are making up with your mouth. I can't believe that Nintendo would put a bunch of, to outdo Elden Ring, would put all their manpower into making a good Zelda game. Throw out a different Nintendo like game, dude. At this point, that's all I'm begging. Oh, it's all I'm begging for, just for it to change it up.
Like a completely different game, you know? Like, they, Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild are nothing alike. Meanwhile, like, FromSoft is just throwing out the same game over and over and over again, just hoping hoping that they can continue their age of fire perpetually, right?
To continue the Age of Fire perpetually, huh? The Age of Fire ended in Dark Souls 3, you fucking moron. Like, you didn't beat the game. You didn't beat it. Dark Souls and Elden Ring are different games. People have considered it to be Dark Souls 4, and I can see a point to that. These are different events. Different things are going on. The Age of Fire is done with. It's been done with since Dark Souls 3. What are you saying? They've changed up the formula with every game. This is their first open world Souls game. And they made it easy for you guys. Like, come on. I want this DLC to be classic Souls. I want it to be hard. And the fact that you gotta beat Moog first is kind of, tickling my pickle in the right way, if you know what I mean.
Right. You know how like Gwyn is like desperately trying to keep the flame going, to keep his relevancy strong because he's such a big believer in. That's basically the Dark Souls fan base, right? They're desperately throwing more Dark Souls games into the flame to try and stoke it. They're making Armored Core to try to do something.
Okay, he's about to bring up Armor Core, but that was a stupid ass statement. You return to areas from Dark Souls 1 in Dark Souls 3. The whole thing with Gwyn is over in Dark Souls 1. Somebody wants to correct me, better people who know the lore better than me, go for it. But as far as I know, I remember beating that motherfucker and him not showing up. If you want to say the Unknown King was maybe him or his son, maybe. But Gwyn was dead after the first. What is your point? Like, no duh, the fan base is going to always stoke the flame. No fucking duh, because we love this game. We love this series, and we're dedicated to this company who keeps creating banger after banger after banger, and I will be there if they ever slip and fall from grace, and I will criticize them with the same criticisms that I'm giving you. But these games are great, and they will stand the goddamn test of time, and I'm sorry that you need to play on easy mode for your video games. When Nintendo actually makes good games, then people will respond to them. That's the market, motherfucker. And if you can't understand that and understand why Elden Ring is so popular and why Elden Ring is so good and why the fan base holds it up so greatly, then maybe you should look up why you hold up fucking Zelda and all these other bullshit games so sacredly.
To keep people from noticing how repetitive and derivative all of their games actually are, right? They're trying to send out all their player bases on all these Dark Soul quests to try and like continue this age of stagnation. They are desperate to try and keep themselves relevant in an industry that is well on its way to moving on from it, right? If anything, I think if Dark Souls existed in a industry that was actually healthy and actually had like real variety when it comes to software and software development from a lot of different like high quality developers, like Dark Souls would never ever been relevant, right? Like Dark Souls really is a formula that should have been improved on a long time ago.
Dark Souls would never have been relevant. Let me ask you something. If it wasn't for its difficulty and they put it in easy mode and it was your basic dungeon crawler, would it be relevant? No. You'd be defending it because you'd probably think it's a good game then. The reason people like the game is because of the punishing difficulty. It susses out the tourists, the journalists, the non-fans, and the people who are not going to support the game through its lifetime. You are obviously one of these people. You are a dick rider. You are a Nintendo fanboy. And you will move on to the next slop game that they fucking release. Especially if it's a Zelda game. I don't understand where this butthurt comes from. But you need to get it under control because you're looking like a dumbass.
And we still haven't seen it yet. Like it's just, if anything, like indie games are already putting out better Dark Souls than From Slop is, and that's not really something that like the audience likes to admit to itself, but it is true, right? Like I have a very low opinion of Miyazaki and the From Slop formula and the audience and just everything they do to try and just deny reality.
He wanted to say indie games right there, but didn't throw any one of them out, like Shovel Knight or, as far as I know, Blasphemous. I haven't played Blasphemous, so I'm not exactly sure on that. I can be corrected. Yeah, there are indie games. Hell, Stellar Blade. What was that one crappy one they came out with that was really bad? I don't remember what it was. I'll throw it up here if I can find it. Like, dude, there are definitely indie games that are inspired by From Software's Souls games and use their formula, and some of them have improved better on it. I would argue that Life of Pi is a great Souls-like game, like that everybody should play and support so we can get a sequel with Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. No, I'm not going to argue with that. That some indie games have made better Souls games. And I say that in the vein of, this is a company who, this is their first Souls game, and if you compare it to Dark Souls 1 or Demon Souls, it's a better game, because the original Demon Souls and Dark Souls was jank, and it's not hard to admit. That's why people like Elden Ring, because it's smooth, it's satisfying, and it still has that old formula of you gotta be sure what you're doing before you attack.
You know, in this regard, like From Slop took an entire year, like 2 years, to develop this DLC. Like meanwhile, Nintendo is well on their way to putting out like new Zelda games.
Okay, so he just skipped over Armored Core, so I guess I didn't really need to bring that up. But it's like, dude, I already said it before. They released Armored Core, like last year? Like when you think about it, it makes sense. They release Elden Ring, and in the meantime, while they're finishing up the DLC, they can promote Armored Core the next year. Like, why is that hard for you to understand? That's a business decision. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, we gotta be real here. Elden Ring is a bigger game than Armored Core. Alright? I'm not seeing a lot of people that are rocking the Armored Core. Alright? When the game came out, like, if anything, when that game came out, it had a lot of hype, and the hype died fast. Alright? It's a good game, but FromSoft has definitely released better. And yet you want to still say it, that like Nintendo is focusing all this fucking energy into creating the next big fucking Zelda game, the next big Mario game, the next big Metro game, except you don't care about Mario or Metroid, you just care about Zelda. So until I see a trailer for the next Zelda game, we'll see. And I swear to God, if it's the same map, like, I'm coming right back for your fucking ass, and the defending video that you fucking put up that I know inevitably will fucking be there. Putting out like new games in general, right?
why exactly would I be excited over Shadows of the Erdtree? Like, remember when people were trying to tell you that, like, this DLC would outperform Tears of the Kingdom? Like, a DLC outperforming Tears of the Kingdom. Meanwhile, like, Tears of the Kingdom sold.
Man, okay, here's another thing. This wouldn't be the first time a DLC has outsold and outfavored actual full-on games. Witcher 3. A game that you can play on the Switch. A game you can play on Nintendo. That the DLC outsold and outdid full-on games. Why don't you throw that up there? I know this video is focused on Elden Ring, but, like, dude, I'm throwing out examples here of different video games from your own company. Video games that are on your company's system that you are not. You are using this Zelda bullshit, which has been the same game for a majority of the 20-something games that have released, but Elden Ring is still shit. Elden Ring isn't inventive or new or any of this, and they need to release this DLC because From Software is really clutching its pearls. They may be running out of money soon. Oh man, we gotta do this. We gotta make our game relevant again because we need people to buy it so we can sell all this expensive stuff. Is that your fucking idea? Maybe the game is just good and actual players and actual people who enjoyed the game are coming back to it, you dumb fuck.
Roughly as much as, like, the base game, right? Like, again, why should I care about Elden? Like, what about this game makes it so spectacular? Nobody has ever been able to give me any adequate explanation as to why this game is so great, other than the fact that it's Game of the Year, which, as we all know, is not a metric we should ever respect.
Yeah, unless it's your bullshit Nintendo Zelda bullshit. To finish this off, this guy's a fucking dick-riding Nintendo dumbass who needs to fucking take that Switch and shove it where the sun don't fucking shine. I'm Nihilistic Nemesis. I'm fucking angry. Peace!